Hello, 7th graders. Your video for the next section is 3.4 out of the book, which is dealing with how to solve two-step inequalities. And again, the steps that we're going to use to solve these are the same steps that we would use to solve the two-step equations that we did last chapter. And the only thing that you need to remember is that special case that we talked about today. So your first step is going to be to get rid of what's being added or subtracted first. Then you're going to finish the problem, but you have to remember to check the signs, because sometimes, depending what your sign is, it's going to change what that last step is going to be, just like it did in the problems we did today. So if we have a problem like this, so if I have -2 plus 4b greater than -14, so I can't get rid of the variable until everything else is gone. So I have a -2 here. So I do the opposite, which is adding 2. And remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. That is the addition property of equality. So I'm left with 4b is greater than a -14 plus a +2. You're actually subtracting because one's positive, one's negative, so that it ends up with a -12. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide by 4. I do not have to change this symbol because the negative was not on the side of the variable. If this 4 had been negative, I would switch it, but it's not. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. And then if I wanted to put that on a number line, I could go ahead and do that also. -303, the shortcut way. So circle -3, and it says greater than. It is not or equal, so I don't have to shade it in. Greater than, it's pointing this way, greater. Where are the numbers that are greater, bigger than -3? They're this way. So I shade the line going that direction. So then I have another example here for you. And let's see, so if I have h divided by -1.2 plus 7.1 is greater than 1.1. Let's do greater than or equal. Okay, so I can't get rid of the h until everything else is gone. It says plus 7.1, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is subtract 7.1. Be careful over here. I have a 1.1, which means I have to actually flip this around. This 7 is negative. Subtracting is the same thing as adding a negative. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract that, and I get a -6. So I have h over -1.2 greater than or equal to -6.0. Okay. So now I have to get rid of this negative. Multiply by a negative. That should be a big warning sign. Multiplying or dividing by a negative means I need to flip this symbol. Needs to change. That'll leave me with h, and I do the same thing over here. Multiply by a negative, which makes it a positive. Negative times negative is positive. So just go ahead and multiply like normal here. 2 decimals. Just double checking my work here, make sure that and it is a positive. I'm going to rewrite that so you can read it better. So h is less than or equal to 7.2. So then if I wanted to go ahead and put that on a number line, I do -7.2, 0, and 7.2. Circle 7.2, it says or equal, so I shade it in. It says less than, h is less than. That means over here, where are the numbers that are less than, that direction. So there's that one. Bring that knowledge with you tomorrow, and we will talk about it more. Have a good night.